also now spilled over to other schools in Tshwane, where we're hearing issues of, racial tensions due to the system. Is this something the president may urgently look to speak to the Minister of Basic Education about? That's it for now. Thanks.
Okay, Terence, should we run with those, or do you want to take one or two from the virtual platform? Are you happy for me to proceed just with those two, or you want to take one or two from the virtual platform?
Message from Tembi Lekele of Bloomberg News. Please, may you just elaborate on the engagements which will get underway on energy? Who will the president be meeting with exactly? That's all.
Okay. Discussions are under. More details will be provided by the Minister of Finance, hopefully in his budget address. It's still early to give a definitive response in that regard at the moment. Is it a matter of concern? Of course it is a matter of concern. That amongst the many challenges that Eskom is facing, there is an issue of non-payment fraud quite urgently. So there is concern around that issue, but it is an issue that's being addressed, and it will require a sustainable approach going forward. So those discussions are underway. Pule, with respect to the NES tariff and in a way the current state of load shedding, with its impact on the economy, further exacerbates some of those dynamics. But at this stage, the president cannot interfere with that process because it is a statutory process. Eskom verity of consumers paying more for electricity that they do not have. Having said that, we need to sustain the funding of Eskom from multiple sources, including the users, in order to enable Eskom to that are currently underway. So it is an issue of concern, one that the president cannot interfere with at the moment. It's a statutory process that NASA has to undertake. You will know that the number of court orders that ordered NASA to is in need of funding, and therefore there's a balance that has to be maintained, and the president is very alive to the pain of having to and as we continue to drive solution will be alleviated. With respect to challenges facing admission of learners into schools, our understanding so far is they are addressing the issue. The Minister of Basic Education is also attending to the issue. At this stage, it will not be prudent for the president to seek to micromanage that process because it's something that the province has been dealing with, and it's something that the province year on year continues to seek and drive improvements on. It is unfortunate that at the start of the school calendar year, some learners could not be absorbed, but it is something that the president remains reasonably comfortable that it will be attended to, and it will be attended to with a great deal of urgency and speed. Stembile asked about the engagements. So the president has been, there will be meetings later on today, net joints meetings, and over the next day or so, there may very well be meetings of the National Energy Crisis Committee, as I've indicated, to look at urgent measures that can be taken, but also to give.
Mr. Magwenya, there's a hand on the virtual platform from Professor Anton Heber.
Yeah.
Prof, you may go ahead.
Thank you very much. I want to ask about the SABC board. There's been 3 months without a board, so there's some urgency for the presidency to finalize this matter. Can you tell us when this might happen and what the delay is?
Okay, we'll take another question.
There's another one on a WhatsApp platform from Amanda Koza of Sunday Times. This week, President Ramaphosa confirmed the National Coronavirus Command Council, NCCC, will meet to discuss the new variant detected in South Africa this week. I'd like to know if the NCCC did meet, when did it meet, and what was discussed in the meeting? Is the president concerned about the new variant? Thanks.
Okay, Terence, can we take another question, please?
From the floor, I think Mr. Jones.
Thank you very much again, Terence, for the opportunity. Mr. Magwenya, just 2 last questions from my side. Is the in the energy committee that will be looking into some of these issues in the country? And maybe just lastly, can we expect any cabinet reshuffle? Is it on the cards soon? Yeah, just maybe a response to those 2 questions. Thank you very much.
Okay, let me start with Ipule. Cabinet reshuffle, I think the president has been quite clear on this one, that he's applying his mind, and the president is mindful of, I suppose, the kind of urgency that has been expressed, but nonetheless, he is applying his mind as he should, and he will exercise that prerogative, being guided by the interest plans to do so. Instead, there are a number of engagements, as I've mentioned, that are aimed at finding solutions to the energy crisis, and this has been an ongoing process in that regard. Should there be any at this stage, there are no such plans. Amanda and CCC, yes, the meeting did happen on Tuesday, the 10th of this month, where the president was brought up to speed with regard to the recent discovery, satisfied that at this stage, there is no research that our scientists are conducting around the pandemic related the world to the existence of a new variant, even though this variant does have presence in a number of countries, but this was more specific to its existence in South Africa. As things stand, the exercise is for members of the public, those who have not vaccinated, to do so. Those who have vaccinated to continue to get their booster shots. And let's continue with those non-clinical preventative measures, washing our hands regularly, and those not fall under any compulsory measures that will be adopted. So I hope that answers your question, Amanda. Prof, the SABC board, absolutely. There is an appreciation of the urgency of finalizing that process. It is being finalized. There was a slight administrative and logistical delay. Is quite imminent in that regard. I can't give the exact timeline, Prof. You'll have to forgive me, but safe to say that an announcement is imminent and that process is being finalized. And we regret the inconvenience to the public broadcaster, and there is a great deal of urgency to ensure that we sustain the stability that has been achieved or attained around the public broadcaster. Did I forget a question, Terence? Or I think I've covered all of them.
I think you've covered them all, but there is another one on the virtual platform from Lindsay Tingler. I think let's give you a chance to ask a question. Lindsay, you may go ahead.
Online, with us at the moment. Would it be possible for him to share with us the kind of solutions that you have been referencing that are being considered to mitigate the breakdowns and the resultant load shedding? Thank you.
Okay, before Mr. Magwenya does that, and he will have to indicate maybe in the chat box whether he will be able to do so, but let me give him some time to breathe and maybe process his thoughts in thinking through your cheekiness, Lindsay. But I just wanted to take you through some of the progress that we've been able to achieve through the national, but it is nonetheless important to demonstrate that there is work that is being done. So, for example, the areas of progress that are noteworthy are the following. We have removed the licensing threshold through amendment to Schedule 2 of the Electricity Regulatory Act. This was gazetted on the 15th of, has been established to work closely with Eskom Transmission to expedite expropriation and servitudes. The Minister of Public Works and Infrastructure has in the last 2 months signed notices of intent to expropriate for 27 parcels of private land. 46 servitudes on DPWI land are being processed. Furthermore, Eskom has identified up to 1,000 megawatts of additional power to be imported from Mozambique and other countries in the SADC region, pending negotiations and regulatory approvals. This is in addition to the 300 megawatts already secured through the Southern African Power Pool. Potential significant, but 1,600 megawatts there is the potential to be developed by Eskom. This will be implemented as a matter of urgency by the utility, as no NERSA concurrence is required. A net billing framework and later a feed-in tariff is being developed to credit customers for installations. Further consultations are planned for the current month of January to finalize arrangements with a broad range of former power station managers, starting at Duba, Kusile, Chrome. The process to improve the availability of spare parts and expertise from original equipment manufacturers, OEMs, through more agile procurement is underway to source services from OEMs to the requirement to obtain environmental authorization countrywide in areas of low and medium environmental sensitivity has been completed. The Net Joints is coordinating the work of multiple agencies to address sabotage, theft, and fraud at Eskom. Some arrests have been made that's just a bit of color and just to give you a sense of the work that has been undertaken and completed with regards to executing the National Energy Plan. Terence, as the chair...
I also raise one thing. It seems like we're having a technical challenge with the raising of the hand. May I encourage sharing questions in the chat box just to mitigate this challenge of the raising of the hand?
Okay.
Yeah.
Apologies for that. If colleagues can just quickly type their questions on the chat box, Terence will then pick them up and pass them on to me. Are there any other questions here from the floor? Gert and Pula look happy.
The hand raising issue, and we don't see any hands so far.
Okay. That's quick and short. Gert?
Naledi?
On the video that was shared about the soldiers throwing the corpses on the fire in Mozambique, it has raised quite a lot of concern all over the country and in the African continent. And I see that Haga Geingob said it will be investigated, and the results of an investigation will be made known. Do you care to comment on that?
Quite disturbing and really regrettable and unfortunate. We are now trusting that the authorities that are investigating the matter will do so fairly quickly and get to the bottom of those actions and behavior. As you know, our forces there are part of a SADC mission. And as you've alluded, SADC will be also conducting its own investigation. Our own South African Defense Department has announced its investigation, and we hope that those investigations will be expedited and they will shed light. Those are not actions and behavior that reflects our human rights values as a country, and our commitment anxious to understand what really happened and to get to the bottom of the matter. Ule?
Yeah, maybe just a last. The National Energy Committee of Ministers believe that this could potentially play a role in terms of alleviating or putting a stop to load shedding, because like you said, it will mean that the utility will have more funds to exercise it for its programs, amongst others. Do you think that with this hike, if it's to be implemented, would it have a positive effect in the goal or mission to try and stop load shedding in the country?
Pole, my response to that question will be speculative in about an hour's time from now. So I'll rather wait until they make their announcement before engaging any further on what could be the impact. Let's rather wait for that data.
Who would like to raise a question? Bongegile, please proceed.
I've spoken to Mr. Magwenya on WhatsApp, but it was unofficial, asking if the president has received a letter from John Steenhuisen, who wants an urgent meeting with him regarding the power crisis. And if the president does receive that meeting, will he be meeting with John Steenhuisen?
Bongegile, the practice is that the president will allocate time and meet leaders of political parties represented in parliament. And this has happened before. Last year, in the build-up to the announcement of the National Energy Plan, there was an engagement between the president and leaders of political parties represented in a similar format. Specifically, as things stand, I'm not aware of a letter from Mr. Steenhuisen. Maybe our office has received it, but that information has not reached me. Engage with leaders of political parties on matters of national interest? The answer is yes. He always makes that time available for those engagement. And should there be a need for...
No hands so far, Mr. Magwenya. Nothing on the WhatsApp platform. I see any hand on the floor.
Okay.
Your call.
Thank you very much, colleagues. And I'd like to wish you all the best for the year ahead, and I look forward to further engagements. Thank you so much.